It's a beautiful night for baseball, and live from PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Pittsburgh Pirates in the rubber game of this three-game series. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner, along with Oral Hershiser and Nomar Garciaparra. Of course, pitching has been the name of the game for the Dodgers all year, but last night they laid a collective egg. Gave up 12 earned runs, got routed 12-7. And in this rubber game, Dan Herron, who has struggled lately, is burden of responsibilities on his right shoulder.
It sure is, and he has to play a different role. This is the role of stopper, and Dan Herron's going to have to read a different script. He's going to have to read the script from the beginning of the season. You think about how well he started off. He was hitting the corners on both sides. Well, how do you do that? Well, it was with his fastball and his breaking stuff. That split finger was awesome, but once he commands the outer half of the plate, he can come back inside and lock hitters up with his two-seamer. That's the Dan Herron we need to see tonight, and we have not seen that of late. Progressively, April, May, June, July, you can see the ERA starting to escalate. He has lost his last three starts. The Dodgers cannot afford for him to come out and lay an egg tonight. They need to turn this around.
First 10 starts for Herron, an ERA of a shade over 3. His last 10 starts a shade over 5.5. Meanwhile, since the All-Star break, it's been a whole new Adrian Gonzalez.
Well, you know, you get fatigue as the season progresses, and with fatigue comes poor mechanics, but Adrian Gonzalez really got a jump start for the All-Star break. I mean, his numbers have just gotten so much better. You see that average over 400, which we're used to seeing in Adrian Gonzalez do so. He knows his swing better than anybody in the major leagues. He knows how to make adjustments, and now he's able to turn on that fastball because he's got that jump start. He makes the adjustment on the breaking ball as well, and now he's squaring the ball up more consistency. And when you're able to square up the ball more consistency, but that comes the power as well, as he hit a home run in last night's game. And if we have a consistent Adrian Gonzalez, you'll get some consistent wins for the Dodgers.
So Gonzalez has turned it around. The Dodgers try to take the rubber game to this three-game set. Who says you can't go home again? Scott Van Slyke playing in center field, hitting cleanup tonight. He grew up here in Pittsburgh. Herron and Liriano, the pitchers tonight. We're coming right back. Wednesday night in Pittsburgh. A 40% chance of rain. The rubber game of this 3-game series. The Dodgers have had a dozen 3-game series this year, and they are 6-6 in them. Don Mattingly has put this lineup together as the Dodgers get ready for the final game in Pittsburgh. Meanwhile, the Giants are in Philadelphia. Bumgarner and Burnett. It'll be Gordon and Kemp and Adrian Gonzalez. Scott Van Slyke with the pinch hit home run last night in center field and batting cleanup. Uribe at third base hitting fifth. Carl Crawford in left field batting sixth. Miguel Rojas at shortstop batting seventh. Butera the catcher batting eighth. Dan Herron looking to turn things around pitching and batting ninth. And they are facing the 30-year-old veteran left-hander Francisco Liriano. Liriano, comeback player of the year last year. The way things are going, he's going to have a good year next year to be the comeback player again, because he's having a rotten time of it this year. A record of 1 up and 7 down.
Yeah, he's really struggled this year. Even spent some time on the DL for about a month with a strained oblique. And that one win has come against the Dodgers back at Dodger Stadium back on the 30th of May. And the way he attacks hitters, he attacks you with a fastball, both a 2-seamer and 4-seamer, a slider and a changeup. And the key to Liriano's success is that he keeps the ball down in the zone. So as those Dodger hitters, they need to really force him to get it up so his ball can flatten out and take advantage of that.
Closed captioning tonight brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. What's the difference, Oral, between the Liriano of this year and the Liriano of last year?
Command, and he's really rushing his mechanics a lot of times. We'll watch tonight as he goes into his landing leg. Is he really balanced, or is he slipping and falling off to third base side? When he starts doing that, he loses command of all of his pitches.
One of the issues Liriano has had this year is control, averaging nearly 5 walks per 9 innings. So we're ready to go. The Dodgers will fly out immediately after the game, head off to San Francisco. It'll be an off day for the Dodgers tomorrow. Giants and Phillies will play tonight and again tomorrow afternoon back at Citizens Bank, and then the big weekend series at AT&T Park. Friday night it'll be Greinke and Lincecum. Saturday Kershaw and Vogelsong, and on Sunday Hyun-Jin Ryu and Yusmeiro Petit. First things first, it's the Dodgers and the Pirates. The Pirates with the win last night. First time they have won a season series from the Dodgers since the year 2000, or a year before PNC Park was built. So Gordon at .295 with 112 base hits. Of course, leads the league in triples and stolen bases. And he takes a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Coming into the day today, there was about a 60 to 70% chance of rain through the day. So far, not a raindrop, but about a 40% chance of rain tonight. So far, so good. Gordon takes a strike, and it's 1-2. Kemp is on deck and Gonzalez to follow. The Pirates begin the night at 53-47. Gordon is down on strikes. Defensively behind Liriano tonight, same as last night with the notable exception of third base. Josh Harrison taking over for Alvarez. Alvarez out with a bad knee. Mercer, Walker, and Davis round out the infield, and from left to right, Travis Snyder, the great Andrew McCutchen, Gregory Polanco had a big night last night, and the former Dodger Russell Martin behind the plate. Now Matt Kemp steps in. Kemp at .269 with 8 home runs and 37 runs batted in. Kemp last night was 2 for 5. They've got the shift on for Matt Kemp. Takes high and in. 1 ball, no strikes. The number 2 hitter for the Dodgers this year, whoever it's been, has been terrific. Collectively, the number 2 hitters are hitting .291. And mostly it's been Puig and Hanley Ramirez. .291 is the 3rd highest batting average for any number 2 fella in the major leagues. And in terms of on-base percentage, runs scored, RBIs, extra base hits, the Dodger number 2 hitters collectively ranked 2nd in the major leagues.
It's been a nice place to hit because you're hitting in front of one of the better hitters, usually at that time, Adrian Gonzalez, Hanley Ramirez, sometimes Yasiel Puig, but you're also hitting behind D. Gordon, who's having a great year. You'll see a lot of fastballs when the speedy Gordon is on.
Well, we mentioned one of the issues for Liriano this year has been walks. in 81 innings. That is now his 46th walk. So he's averaging roughly 5 walks per 9 innings. So the Dodgers get a gift. Let's see what they can do with it.
You see the Pirate defense moving over, playing the shift. You have your third baseman Harrison playing over as the second baseman. They're kind of discussing who has the base on either comebackers, plays to the left. And the other thing, if Matt Kemp thinking about stealing, it's another thing that you actually have third base open over there, so they have to be aware of that as well if he gets to second base.
Kemp has attempted 10 stolen bases this year, but he's only been 50-50. Does not have the speed he once had.
When Adrian's facing a tough lefty and Liriano really worked D. Gordon tough and especially hard away, that left side wide open for Adrian to take a shot over there.
Gonzalez, a home run, a single, and a sac fly last night, knocking in 3 of the 7 Dodger runs.
Usually a left-handed hitter with a man on first, they're very adept at being able to hook the ball over in the hole because the first baseman is holding the runner. But with Adrian and the shift, the left side is where the hole is for Mr. Gonzalez.
1 ball, 1 strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gonzalez, with his 3 RBIs last night, is tied with Paul Goldschmidt for second in the National League in runs batted in. 65, 1 behind Giancarlo Stanton. So even though Gonzalez at 259, career batting average of 294, is still producing the runs. On 1 and 2.
I'm really surprised the Pirates are sticking with the shift here with a 2-strike count and a left-hander with a good breaking ball on the mound. Adrian's so smart, he will give in and shoot that ball to left.
The shortstop Mercer is shaded towards second. So Gonzalez has about 60 feet of infield on the left side to work with. And Liriano pitching outside and missing 3 and 2.
Well, they're going away with Adrian, and that's the way Liriano likes to pitch, especially to left-handers. He likes that slider to get them fishing off the plate, see if he can get that swing and miss. He can come in with that 2-seamer on the inner half to get you off the plate to try to expose that outer half.
Let's see if Kemp's going. He's not. Up and in, ball 4. So as we mentioned early on, control is an issue for Liriano this year, and he's walked 2 of the first 3 batters he's faced.
And you can see how erratic he is. These pitches right now do not have a pattern at all where his misses are kind of in the right area. The target could be low and away and he could miss up and in.
Now Van Slyke, who has come home, and he's got a couple of runners to work with. Van Slyke, of course, his father had great days here in Pittsburgh, then on to St. Louis where he would grow up. Scott takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Van Slyke, his 8th home run of the year last night. Correction, his 9th. 17 runs batted in. It was a pinch hit home run in the 8th inning. One ball, 1 strike. So already, because of the control issue, Liriano's at 16 pitches, having retired just 1 batter. Struck out Gordon, walking Kemp and Gonzalez. Two and 1.
They look like they want to work Scott inside and not allow him to extend his arms. But the one thing you know is if you come in there and you're Liriano and you're low and in, that is a power place for Scott Van Slyke. He loves the ball low and in where he can drop the head of the bat. Being a tall fella, he's got that angle.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Uribe on deck and Crawford to follow.
And it's like that's the frustrating pitch right there. You recognize it was a breaking ball. That was a mistake. It was up in the zone and you foul it off.
I'll shoot him somewhere.
He's going to have to lay off the good breaking ball now that'll go at his back foot.
Hi, boy.
Liriano came up in 2005 with the Twins, had a great year in 2006, 12-3 and a 2.16 ERA. Missed the entire 2007 season. Arm injury, and stayed with the Twins until the middle of the 2012 season. Then it was on to the White Sox. 16-8 with the Pirates last year. Van Slyke down on strikes.
We said Scotty would have to lay off something down, and that looks like they either went changeup or backdoor breaking ball. The ball definitely had some depth to it.
It's kind of Liriano's MO. It's like he'll get himself in trouble because of his command, and then he comes back and makes the pitches when he needs to, either getting that strikeout like he's on Van Slyke, and also because of that depth of his off speed and the movement of his fastball, he gets a lot of ground balls.
2 on, 2 out, and here's Uribe hitting precisely 300. 5 home runs and 27 runs batted in for the fellow they call Poppy inside the clubhouse. Crawford on deck. Into right at Polanco. And that ends the inning. Dodgers get a couple of walks, leave 2, fail to score. Dan Herron getting ready for his 21st start of the year. He'll be facing Polanco, Snyder, and McCutchen in the bottom of the first. His 4th season with the Pirates has put essentially the same lineup together as he used last night. Josh Harrison at third base instead of Alvarez. Polanco a big night. He had been slumping coming into the game last night, but hit a home run and went 2 for 4. Then it's Snyder and McCutchen. Walker, Martin, and Davis. Harrison at third base. Jordy Mercer's had a fine time of it in July at shortstop. Liriano pitching and batting 9th. 33-year-old Dan Herron, 8-7 and a 4.3 ERA.
Well, Dan looking to respond to some really bad outings for him. His last 3 starts, 3 losses. Really doesn't feel like he is an integral part of this rotation right now, wanting to respond to that personally and really pick the team up and give them a win before they head to San Francisco.
In July, 0-3 and an ERA of 9 2/3. Polanco leading it off and takes a strike, 0-1. Polanco at 253 hit his 4th home run last night. Travis Snyder on deck, McCutchen to follow. Giants and Phillies are just underway. Line drive, base hit, right field. So Polanco is aboard as he squares up a line drive to right.
Well, Dan Herron is going to have to fight the feeling of here we go again. He makes a pretty good pitch, but Polanco puts a great swing on it, and all of a sudden you got a man on first, and you're from the stretch 2 pitches into your game.
Polanco will turn 23 in September. The Pirates signed him as a teenager, and he is about their most highly prized prospect. Had been slumping until last night, and now here's Travis Snider. Snider last night, a couple of hits, a walk, and 2 runs scored. Of course, it was a long night for the Dodgers last night, and in particular the pitching staff, which has been so good. All 12 runs scored by Pittsburgh were earned. Line into left field for a base hit. So clearly this is not the start that Herron wanted to get off to, with the struggles that Oral was telling you about.
Well, I'll tell you, it looks like these hitters have their plan was, okay, he's been struggling with his command, but he's been struggling to the middle of the plate. He doesn't walk a whole lot despite giving up a lot of hits and some home runs. So be ready for that ball. Be ready to hit when you step into the box. And so when the ball falls over to the middle of the plate, take a good swing at it. And so far, the first 2 batters have done that.
Why is it, Oral, that there's such a disparity between Herron's .322 batting average from the opponents in the first inning and then beyond?
Well, early on, the main reason was that he wasn't getting to his off-speed stuff early enough.
McCutchen lines to Uribe, first out.
Right there, he went off speed. McCutchen squared it up. Fortunately, Uribe had him played perfectly. Dodgers almost get a double play out of this. Now this is the kind of break that Dan Herron has to say, I need to capitalize on this. I've thrown 4 pitches, given up 3 rockets. I've still only got 2 guys on, and I haven't given up a run yet.
Neil Walker is now the hitter. Walker, the switch hitter, at .286, 15 home runs and 48 runs batted in. Just underway, the Dodgers had a couple of base runners in the first inning on walks to Kemp, and Gonzalez couldn't cash those in. And here are the Pirates with first and second and 1 out. Not a lot of difference, Walker, the switch hitter, between lefty and righty. As a left-handed hitter, .284. He's batted much more against left-handed pitching. And .297 against righties. Born and raised here in Pittsburgh. And is one of those really solid players that plays under the national radar. Russell Martin on deck. Pirates with a threat here in the first. Two and one.
Right now, 7 pitches into it, Dan Herron is not zeroed in. When he has thrown the ball for a strike, it has been up and very hittable. When he has thrown the ball for a ball, it's been down, and just the hitters can just spit on it right out of his hands. He's got to find that midpoint for where he is right now in his release.
Up and in.
Well, you and I have talked about it when we watched Dan Herron the last few games. It's the sharpness of his pitches, the sharpness of his off speed, his breaking ball. He hasn't had that. It's really been flat, man. And I'm looking at him and I'm saying, from a hitter standpoint, you're picking it up out of his hand right away, and that break is starting there rather than later, and you're able to wait and make an adjustment as it's coming to you.
Slicing foul on the play. Giants failed to score in the top half of the first in Philadelphia. Madison Bumgarner in search of his 12th win of the year against A.J. Burnett. Last night, the Giants and Phillies played until about 1:45 in the morning. A 5-hour and 46-minute, 14-inning affair that the Giants would win 9-6. Lincecum, who the Dodgers are going to face this weekend, got the win in relief because there is nobody left in the bullpen. Dodgers will face Lincecum on Friday. And so Neil Walker, who grew up in Pittsburgh, Russell Martin, who grew up in Montreal and of course came up with the Dodgers 9 years ago now. Butera wants to get on the same page with Dan Herron. Polanco, the runner at second base, has very good speed. Snyder has decent speed at first. Might they be running full count first inning? Of course, one mitigating circumstance is that Walker's a left-handed hitter. He takes outside ball 4, and the Pirates have the bases loaded. Defensively behind the Dodgers tonight, around the infield, Uribe. Rojas starting at short. Hanley Ramirez sidelined again, and Justin Turner with the night off. Gordon and Gonzalez on the right side. Crawford, Van Slyke, and Kemp in the outfield, and Butera catching tonight. Off day tomorrow. You can expect that A.J. Ellis will be back behind the plate on Friday when Zach Greinke goes against Lincecum at AT&T Park. So the bases are loaded. Polanco and Snyder and Walker at first. Martin at 277 with 5 home runs. Aaron struggling mightily in the first.
He's got to use more of the halves of the plate right here, not go for the corners. And I think he's got to take a lot of speed off the ball. I think he's got to go soft. The pitches aren't sharp enough to trust the break to get off the barrel. I think you want to take the sting out of the bat.
2 balls and no strikes. Russell Martin this year, runners in scoring positions, hitting .352.
And Russell Martin, he loves when he has guys in scoring position, and especially now he finds himself in a hitter's count. He's looking for a ball that he can knock out of the park.
Herron has surrendered 20 home runs this year. Now it's 3 balls and no strikes.
And Russell Martin's one of those hitters that Tim Hurdle will let swing 3-0 if he feels he can get a ball that he could really handle.
And Russell Martin is keyholing him on the inner half of the plate. Dan has thrown 3 balls that are pretty close if Martin was being aggressive out in the outer half.
3-1.
3-0 swing, like you said, Nomar, and on the inner half, he almost came out of his shoes.
For Dan Herron, storm clouds, literally and figuratively. It is beginning to get increasingly threatening here in Pittsburgh. 40-50% chance of rain tonight. Ike Davis is on deck. Pirates with the bases loaded, 1 out. Now it's 3-2. Think he got enough of his swing?
That's why hitters like that, you let him swing 3-0. Why? Because he's got another chance to swing out of his shoes again if he gets a pitch. And that's give him 2 chances to possibly drive it out of the ballpark or drive it in the gap. Now you're back, okay, 3-2. Now you shorten up and say, okay, I got to get a pitch and drive it, but give him 2 chances in that at bat.
Martin has 34 runs batted in, and the bases are loaded. 1-0 Pittsburgh. Back-to-back walks. Walker and Martin. And now Snyder is at third. Walker is at second. Martin is at first.
Going low and away, missing up and in. Laz Diaz has not had a generous strike zone. That ball's close, but Dan Herron hasn't done anything to earn those borderline pitches.
I got to give Russell Martin a lot of credit on that at bat, because he just took 2 big hacks right there at pitches and then gets a pitch that's really close. As you mentioned, that's close to take 3-2. And when you're feeling like you're aggressive, but to settle down and then make the adjustment and take that pitch for the walk.
So now the bases remain loaded. And Ike Davis, who had himself quite a night last night. One ball, no strike.
It's going to be a tough night for Dan Herron if he doesn't get that last pitch. Boy, that was center cut, maybe at the hollow of the knee.
Sent to the Pirates from the Mets, and a fly ball into fairly routine left. Crawford is there. Snyder will run on it, and the throw to the cutoff man. Crawford, a direct throw to third base would have had a play.
Well, they're going to run on Carl Crawford's arm, that's for sure. And Carl can say, I'm going to try and throw this ball home to get him out, or I'm going to throw the ball to third. But there is not enough time to cut third a ball when a guy's coming from second to third. The other play could have been Uribe running towards the throw from Crawford and take it himself. The exchange just takes too long.
And that was impressive base running there by Neil Walker, that he just ended up taking off. Not easy to tag, or that shallow as he was. You usually don't tag from going from second to third on a fly ball like that. It was actually a risky play by Walker.
Past Uribe, headed toward the left field corner. Couple of more runs for the Pirates. Quickly 4-0, and Dan Herron's nightmare continues.
Well, Earl, you've been talking about it. That pitch that he's trying to get the corner. He was trying to get it in, but we've said that before the game. For him to really be effective, he has to be perfect, and that pitch just caught too much of the plate. We know that the velocity is there, the sharpness isn't there, and it allows him to get the barrel out and drive it to left field. His pitches haven't been fooling a whole lot of batters, so you really have to be perfect, and he hasn't been perfect this first inning.
3 hard hit base hits and a hard hit out.
His velocities are, 89 down to 82, and a 6-7 mile an hour difference in the velocity is not off speed enough. He's going to have to find something, as we know the velocity is not going to go up to 93, 94. He's going to have to find something that he can throw 72, 74 miles an hour. He's got to find 12 mile an hour difference at least, so that the hitters, when they are not on the right speed, actually pay with a weakly hit ball.
2 walks, 3 hits, and 4 runs for the Pirates in the first. And the Dodgers say the heck with Mercer. And they'll try their luck with Francisco Liriano's been staked to a 4-run lead in the first inning.
Well, this is a inning they want to get out of. Dan Herron, Don Mattingly, Rick Honeycutt. But also, Rick Honeycutt, with his lineup card in his hand already, is trying to figure out how he's going to get through this game. Can he tell Don Mattingly, I have enough pitching if you need to call Herron in this inning or the next? So they have to plot it out. You just can't make a move because things are going wrong. You got to know how you're going to finish the game.
Ariana to right field, but right at Kemp, and that ends the inning. So 2 of the 3 outs were line drives. A rugged first for Herron. We go to the second. Pirates 4-0.
For the Dodgers, Dan Herron giving up 4 runs as we make our way to the bottom of the first inning. And I want to talk a little bit, actually top of the second inning, I want to talk a little bit more about Yasiel Puig and Hanley Ramirez. Don Mattingly saying earlier today that Yasiel Puig was going to take some cuts in the cage. He was able to do that on the field. Hanley Ramirez was kept to doing batting practice indoors. Certainly not going to be using those guys today if they can avoid it. Hanley Ramirez seems to be a little bit further back in the progress than Yasiel Puig, as they wouldn't like to use either one of those guys until possibly Friday, maybe even Saturday for Hanley Ramirez, guys.
So the Dodgers are down 4, needing all the offense they can get. Miguel Rojas will be batting second here in the second, right behind Carl Crawford. It'll be Crawford and Rojas and Butera for the Dodgers.
With Yasiel, there must be some residual swelling or pain, because watching him take the cuts on the field, he was hitting a few balls way over the wall. So unless he's hitting them with one hand, the hand is starting to feel better at least.
And the fact that Hanley wasn't able to even take batting practice on the field and kept that indoors, that tells you that. And I think Alana was right on saying that Hanley seems a little bit further back than Puig at this moment.
Well, last night Puig was in full uniform and watching the game from the first base dugout. Ramirez was in the nylon warm-up. Crawford gets hit by a pitch. So the way Liriano is going, he walked 2 in the first inning, 22 pitches, 11 for strikes, and now he just gets a piece of Crawford, even though the Dodgers are down 4, now in the hands of the offense.
This Pittsburgh crowd doesn't get quite as riled up when a Dodger gets hit. Last night it got downright rowdy in here.
On a breaking pitch that hit Russell Martin, right?
Yeah.
Slow curveball.
Rojas takes high, 1 ball and no strikes.
We've said this many times, when the Dodgers find themselves down, especially this is early in the game. Now it's just a matter, you can try to think about, okay, if we just get that 1 run an inning, try to play for that 1 run, just to kind of chip away at that lead, and hopefully your pitching staff could stop it right there.
Oh, the Pirates' hits just keep on coming. They lead the National League. Their pitchers do 59, and opponents have been hit 57 times. So the Pirates are used to this sort of thing. For the Pirates, to give is about the same as to receive.
I love that take right there. You got a guy on the mound that's walking almost a batter every other inning. He's struggling with his command already in this outing. This is not the guy that you're going to swing your way back into this. You got to let him give you a chance to set the table and be patient, and then look for that one blow that's going to really clean the table.
There goes Crawford, and Liriano picked him off, caught stealing.
That's a complete opposite of good take right there, because I think this is the time when you want to be patient with Liriano, not push the envelope offensively and try and create it yourself. He hits you, he falls behind the count, he's struggling out there. I think you just gave him a gift to get him back on track.
Dodgers need base runners at this point. They got one and they gave him back.
Yeah, I know that's part of the Dodger game. I know it's part of Carl's game to steal bases, but you're exactly right, Oral. I mean, in that moment right there, you're going, let's see if he can find the strike zone first before we start giving up outs, or the chance of giving up an out.
Rojas has 16 hits in 77 at-bats. Right to Neil Walker. So 2 out quickly. And Liriano again, he has struggled most of the year. A record of 1-7. His only win this season came against the Dodgers. And with the Pirates' victory last night, it's the first time they've won a season series from the Dodgers since 2000. Vance Worley, last night's winning pitcher. his 3rd win of the year. Wasn't like he was lights out either. Gave up 4 runs and 7 hits in 6 innings. But last night, the Dodger pitching, which has been so consistently solid this year, gave up 12 earned runs.
Really was the type of game that could have been an emotional comeback victory for the Dodgers. Every time the offense stepped back up after falling behind, the pitching staff just could not have a good shutdown inning.
Gonzalez and Van Slyke. Going to be a long night for the Dodgers no matter what. After the game, they fly to San Francisco. They're expected to get in somewhere about 3 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. Off day tomorrow, then the weekend series with the Giants. Giants play the Phillies tonight. They're scoreless in the bottom of the 2nd. Giants and Phils have an afternoon game tomorrow. Dodgers trail San Francisco by 1. Pirates trail Milwaukee by 2.5 in the Central.
It's a big 3-2 count here for Drew Butera. Turn the lineup over. Dan Herron's going to have a little anger in his swing if he can get up there, and he's a really good athlete, good hitter. Some positive things might happen with 2 outs, but the most positive thing could happen is to get the pitcher out of the way.
Start the 3rd inning clean. Butera keeps the battle going. Drew's got 25 hits and 121 at-bats with a couple of home runs. Bottom 3rd of the Dodger lineup tonight. Rojas 208, Butera 207, and Herron 139. Butera's making a nuisance of himself at the plate.
And it's quite all right. I mean, he had some pitches there that borderline strikes on the top of that strike zone, fought him off, and Liriano really likes to keep the ball down. Those were up, but likes to come down to see if he can get you swinging a ball down out of the strike zone, or if he keeps it down there, if you make contact to get that ground ball.
Liriano's 38th pitch. Strike 3. His 3rd strikeout of the game. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. Pirates will have the top of their order coming up in the bottom half of the 2nd. Liriano and the Pirates 4-0. Pirate order, and join us for the next episode of Backstage Dodgers as we take an inside look at that man, D. Gordon, as he shares his first All-Star experience with his father and 3-time All-Star Tom Flash Gordon. Don't miss a new episode of Backstage Dodgers tomorrow at 7 right here on Sportsnet LA. Gregory Polanco came into last night's game 0 for 11. and 3 for his last 35. Well, turned it around last night, scoring 3, went 2 for 4 with a home run, and began tonight's game with a single to right and scored. So Herron looking to settle things down after a terrible first inning, missing high and away, 1 ball and no strikes. Polanco, Snyder, and McCutchen will bat in the second. Herron misses high, then he misses low. Well, he's had a rotten July. In fact, his first 10 starts this year, Dan Herron 5-3 and a 3.16 ERA. His last 10 starts, 3-4 and a 5.60 ERA. And you see what he's done in July. So it's been a tough go for the Southern California native. Crawford, Van Slyke, and Kemp in the outfield straight away for the left-handed hitting Gregory Polanco. Right at Gonzalez. He'll take it himself.
That was one of the better pitches that Dan Herron has thrown so far in this game. I mean, it had some bite to it, and kept the hitter off balance. That's what we're talking about. He needs to show some more of that sharpness, that bite on his pitches, so he'll get more batters to top the ball like that and hit on the ground.
They go to the third in Philadelphia, scoreless. The Giants and Phillies, Bumgarner and Burnett. Travis Snyder single to left in his first at bat, and it looks like he has just homered in his second at bat. His 5th home run of the year, the 21st home run Herron has surrendered. 5-0 Buccos.
Trying to go long away. Look what Buterra's glove is, but look at it come up, and not only up, slightly in. Dan makes another mistake. Schneider makes him pay.
Now McCutchen.
That pitch didn't have any bite to it.
No.
Coming into the game, Herron in each of his last 3 starts had given up 2 home runs. So Travis Snyder, lefty-righty matchup, paying off handsomely for Clint Hurdle and the Pirates.
If you don't watch the pitches, but you just watch the radar gun readings in the lower right corner, and you keep seeing 88, then 83, then 84, then 86, the pitches, if they don't have exceptional location or exceptional movement, are too bunched together. Again at 86 right there. So you have to vary something, or you have to be able to just dot an I with your command, and Dan doesn't have any of those tools right now.
Broken back ground ball to third. McCutchen sprinting all out, and so the throw by Uribe gets him by a step or so. What a helpless feeling it must be, to be out there knowing what you had been and knowing now what you are going through.
Yeah, it is very rough, and you go through it mid-career, you can go through at the beginning of your career, and you definitely go through it at the end when you know the ability is probably not coming back. I think Dan really thinks that it's going to come back. It's one thing to be able to pitch, it's another thing to be able to get somebody out, and right now that's what he's looking for.
Neil Walker walked in his first at bat. Five to nothing already.
You said about being able to get people out. What I've really noticed in a lot of these hitters is they're even taking good hacks on off-speed pitches, or good hacks to the ones where you're supposed to be out in front, or that are supposed to deceive you as a hitter, and they don't. It's not much deception there on these pitches.
Ideally, you want what, at least 10 to 12 miles an hour disparity?
Yeah, you know, if you have something that's very sharp in movement, so we're talking about the difference between the fastball and the slider, or the fastball and the hard split finger, you can be 6 miles an hour different, 7 miles an hour different. But once you get to then the curveball or something that has more of a pattern to it, 10, 12 mile an hour is where you want to be.
Herron with his first strikeout. Pirates tack on another run on the Travis Snyder home run, his 5th of the year. Take a 5-0 lead as we go to the 3rd. Herron has thrown 38 pitches, 20 for strikes. Give it up. 5 runs, 4 hits, and another home run. So now he's going to take matters into his own hands. He's 5 for 36 this year. One of the 5 hits a double.
Why is he hitting? Well, he's going to have to play the role of his own long man today. The 2 long men really went yesterday, Paul Maholm and Jamie Wright. There's some innings down there in the bullpen, and even a Kenley Jansen with an off day tomorrow might have to pitch. If the Dodgers try and get through this game, he might have to pitch the 8th inning, because if there is no bottom of the 9th and no comeback, you only have to cover 8 innings. But you've got a few guys that pitched yesterday, and Brandon League and Paul Maholm and Chris Perez and Jamie Wright. So your rested arms down there. J.P. Howell can give you an inning, maybe a little bit more than an inning. Inning 1. Kenley Jansen give you an inning.
Grounded to short, and Jody Mercer has a nice easy hop.
Brian Wilson's got an inning in him. But until you get to at least through 4 innings, you don't want to look down in that bullpen. The first 4 innings have to be almost Dan Herron's.
And the Giants had the total opposite situation last night in their 5 3/4 hour 14 inning affair in Philadelphia. They used everybody in the bullpen, so much so that Lincecum, who starts on Friday night, had to pitch the 14th inning. Giants would eventually win that game. And they've got the Phillies tonight, top of the 3rd, no score there. And the Giants and Phillies tomorrow afternoon. Giants will start their game about the time the Dodgers are waking up in San Francisco.
Yeah, the side work day today for us is Zach Greinke and Clayton Kershaw, and those guys are too much of crown jewels, where Timmy Lincecum was a crown jewel but now is more of an interchangeable part there in San Francisco. But I don't think there'll be any thought about asking Clayton or Zach to pitch tonight.
Well, they had flat out run out of pitchers. There was nobody left. 2 bullpen catchers were watching the last 2 innings for the Giants last night. Giants have their bullpen issues, and that is the reason why we expect to see Herron, even though it might be a rugged performance tonight, hang in there a while. 1-2 to Gordon, who struck out in his first at bat. Stays alive. Dan Herron and his tutor, Rick Honeycutt.
Rick has been through every stage of a big league career, from a fire thrower early in his career to a starter, an outstanding one, to a reliever at the end of his career. He can relate to anybody on the staff, from the ace all the way to a guy who's struggling to find ways to get people out. And he's done a magnificent job with this pitching staff since he's been the Dodger pitching coach.
Became the pitching coach in 2006. Right to Mercer. 2 out. So Liriano's settling down after he had a shaky first. And Matt Kemp stepping in. Kemp walked in his first at bat at 269, 8 home runs and 37 runs batted in. Kemp on the trip, 5 for 18 on his 3-game hitting streak.
You got to fight to keep your team's concentration right here. Down 5-0, an off day tomorrow, going into a big series. Don Mattingly and Tim Wallach and the coaching staff, some of the verbal team leaders are going to have to use a hot poker down there on the bench to keep guys engaged in this game. Somebody do something to get people riled up.
In the last 6 weeks, Kemp is hitting .310. But he's down 1-2.
Right now, the Dodger offense, they're talking amongst themselves going, his off speed, it's working right now. Early on, it wasn't working as much. He's keeping that down. We really got to fight ourselves, guys, to see if we can get it up, because if it's starting down low, it has a tendency to fall right out of the zone.
Gonzalez on deck. And into right field, a leisurely play for Polanco. A 1-2-3 inning for Liriano, who has retired 7 straight. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd, and the Pirates are up 5-0. The Dodgers honor the longest tenured announcer with any sports franchise ever on Tuesday night. Being one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance at Dodger Stadium, he'll take home a Vin Scully's 65th anniversary talking microphone. Compliments of Farmer John. Tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Well, Dan Herron trying to stop the bleeding. 5-0 Pirates. And Russell Martin, an original Dodger, at least that's the team for whom he came up, part of that Jacksonville 5 class nearly 10 years ago. Fouls it back. Martin's become one of the team leaders here in Pittsburgh. Walked and scored a run in his first at bat. Pirates with 4 in the first, 1 in the second. Davis and Harrison to follow. We have about a 40% chance of rain here in Pittsburgh, and in Philadelphia apparently storm clouds are moving in there. Backhanded stop by Rojas. The throw got him. Gonzalez digs it out. Terrific play by Miguel Rojas.
What athleticism Miguel Rojas displays on this play. I mean, ranging far to his right lane, out. And with the ball bouncing up as he's diving to come up with it, that was the tough part. After he made that play, then just getting into his feet, he got there so quickly, and the ball was hit so hard, he had plenty of time to gather himself to make a good throw over there to first base.
And worthy of a Carl's Cam replay.
I mean, as he's laying out, just see that last hop just kind of come up on him, and he stays with it. And easy pick over there for Adrian Gonzalez.
That's the first out. Of course, when the Dodgers brought him into spring training, Miguel Rojas, the advertising was, okay, he's a great fielder, second base, shortstop, third base, and he's certainly been proficient at all 3 positions. And wouldn't you know it, on the very first ball hit at him at shortstop, little butterfly line drive, and he clanked it. But since then, he has been perfect. And you remember, it was Rojas's great play behind third base that kept the Clayton Kershaw no-hitter intact.
Well, can a play like that as a pitcher, if you're struggling today as Herron is, really boost you up or get you back on target?
It can, a little bit, yeah. Get you through one of those, what you feel is a mistake again. But Dan's got to feel pretty good about the pitch because he got a ground ball. The fact that Rojas made an exceptional play, got him an out, that's icing on the cake. You're right, sometimes just something will get you going.
And that pitch right there, that's the one you're talking about there. Dan Herron needs to get to be really effective, and right now he did not get that. That was the second time against Ike Davis. He's shaking his head. He had that the last time he faced Ike Davis.
On 2-2. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Davis. A sacrifice fly in his first plate appearance. His 31st run batted in. There's a strike. Second strikeout for Herron. Second out of the third. That'll bring up Josh Harrison. A double in his first at bat, knocked in 2. By and large, a utility player until this year. And he had an all-star first half of the season.
Dan going with the slow curveball right there. He's thrown 1 to start this inning off at 76, and that one right here to start Harrison off. I think that's a pitch that he's got to up the ratio on.
Two balls and a strike to Harrison from Cincinnati. And came over from the Cubs. Trade deadline in 2009. Two balls, 2 strikes. Aaron was shaking off a couple of pitches.
Yeah, he shook to the split finger, so 2 shakes tells me maybe Butera was going one type of fastball to one side of the plate, another type of fastball, then he finally got to the split.
Right to Rojas. Bobbles, picks it up, throws him out, inning over. 5-0 now, retired by Aaron, helped in a big way by that man, Miguel Rojas.
Dodgers certainly have some work to do as we make our way to the top of the fourth inning. They find themselves down to a 5-0 deficit to the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's time now for our Coors Light cold hard facts, and so many people continue to talk about Adrian Gonzalez' average, about 32 points lower than his career average. But look beyond the average to the actual production so far this season. In RBIs, Adrian Gonzalez is just one off the pace in the National League. He's already driven in 65 runs this year. He's tied with Arizona's Paul Goldschmidt. So, guys, it's not about the average so far for Adrian Gonzalez. He is producing runs.
Knocked in 3 last night and leads off here in the top half of the fourth. Andrew McCutchen has really turned into one of the elite players in the game. 62 RBIs for McCutchen, ranking 4th in the National League. Gonzalez walked in his first at-bat, takes a strike, 0-1. The shift is on for the left-handed hitting Gonzalez. 15 home runs to go with those 65 RBIs.
That's one thing I love about Adrian Gonzalez, because if you talk to him, he knows he's not hitting the way he has been hitting in the past. He knows he's had some struggles, but at the same time, there's that switch that goes on in his head when there's a guy in scoring position.
Into left field, Travis Snyder in and over.
He always seems to find a way to knock in the guy when there's a guy in scoring position, and he'll take what the defense is giving him. If there's a man on third and less than 2 outs that they're playing back, he's looking for just a pitch to, you know, maybe just get that ground ball, which lowers the average, but it gets the RBI.
Now Van Slyke steps in. He with the pinch hit home run in the 8th inning last night. Starting in center field tonight. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes.
Nomar, in a full season, 600 some at bats or 580. How many hits is the difference between a 300 hitter and a 290 hitter? About 10 hits?
Yeah.
12 hits?
Right to Mercer, and Van Slyke's going to be thrown out.
So it's almost like a hit a point at that time.
Yeah, especially when you get late in the season and you're thinking about that, you know.
So if you think about Adrian, you know, if he hits 300 or 280, you just want to make sure with those outs like you just talked about, you'd rather he hit 280 and drive in 105 than hit 300 and, you know, drive in only 80.
Yeah,
take those ground balls and get your RBIs.
Like I said, when you talk to him, he sees that, and you're going, okay, with the average when you're swinging the bat consistently, and when you're able to swing the bat consistently, then you're going, okay, that's where the average is kind of coming in. And he hasn't been able to do that, and he'll tell you that. But as a hitter like him, what makes him proud is that it comes through when you need it.
Uribe breaks his bat and grounds to Mercer, and Liriano with another perfect inning. He's retired 8 in a row. The Dodgers go quietly. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Mercer, Liriano, and Polanco to bat for the Bucks against Dan Herron. Jody Mercer, Francisco Liriano, and Gregory Polanco will bat for the Pirates as we go to the bottom half of the 4th inning. We're talking about perhaps turning points for a pitcher. Earlier, the great play by Miguel Rojas. Things have certainly settled down for Liriano. In the 2nd inning, Crawford led off, hit by a pitch. Then he was picked off, caught stealing, and since then, Liriano has not given up a thing. And Liriano struggled through the 1st inning, to be sure, hit the first batter in the 2nd. The Dodgers have not done a thing since. Mercer, who walked in his first at-bat, no balls and a strike. Mercer at .250, 6 home runs and 32 runs batted in. He's had a great month of July and basically has taken the job away from now the injured Clint Barnes.
He has solidified his place in the everyday lineup. He comes into the ballpark, doesn't really even need to look at the lineup card, figures he's going to be in there. That's a different feeling for an everyday player.
Uribe. Side on flick. Well, that's an issue that neither one of you really ever had to deal with. You basically knew from the day you showed up in Boston you were going to play every day. And all the same thing after you got yourself solidified, you knew you were part of the rotation.
Yeah, about halfway through my first year is when I went into the rotation in June. Never left for about 10 years. So, yeah, I knew.
It makes a difference, and
it does.
It gets to the point where I remember from myself, it was whether lefty or righty, just where I was going to hit in the lineup, whether I was hitting 3rd or 4th. And depending on who was on the hill, you know, that's what I had to look at, and I knew you were going to be in there. And the other thing, I'll tell you what happens when you're actually consistent like that, though, too. When the days you do get off or the days you aren't playing, the manager will let you know ahead of time.
Yeah.
You know, usually early in your career, I remember it wasn't like for that first month I got called up, I wasn't really told whether I was in there or not, but I was. Kevin Kennedy, who does our radio, he was my manager. And I said he must like me because he keeps putting me in there. But
so the big question was, am I going to bat 3rd today or am I going to bat cleaner?
Right. That was it.
That's living good.
And what happened to me when I was in the rotation for so long, I just remember Pittsburgh as a place where I've been fined. Because we had lost some games in a row, and Tommy said no golf on the road, and I snuck my golf clubs onto the plane with my wife's maiden name. He stood bound by the baggage and noticed the set of clubs coming off and didn't know who the name was. Did some research, find out they were mine. The next day I was fined $200. I gave him a check for $600, and he said, "Bulldog, what's this? I only fined you $200." He said, "You're going to catch me 2 more times."
Liriano down on strikes, third strikeout for Harris.
I was playing Oakmont here in Pittsburgh, and I had Pine Valley lined up in Philly, and we headed to New York, and there was a good place in New York, so I was like, Skip, those clubs are going to make their way home, and you're going to catch me a couple more times.
Can I pay you in advance?
I did. He goes, Bulldog, what is this? I only find you 200. Skip, you're going to catch me 2 more times.
Oh, boy, the life of a starting pitcher. Right? You can bring your golf clubs on the road.
No, you're not allowed, but I got them on.
And am I going to bat third or fourth?
Right. See? Every day. Can't bring my clubs.
Here's Polanco. Polanco singled to right at his first at-bat, scored a run, and then bounced to first base. Pirates with 4 in the first and 1 in the second. Mentioned to you a little bit ago they were expecting some heavy rain in Philadelphia. Well, they got it. They're in a delay in the top half of the 4th inning, Giants and Phillies. And it may be a while, and that may impact the Giants in a couple of ways. One, Bumgarner started tonight, and how long the delay is, will he be able to come back or not? Of course, their bullpen was taxed to the max last night. They've got a day game tomorrow. That's a foul ball. So Mother Nature is doing some damage to the Giants tonight in Philly. And the Dodgers are really upset about that news.
We would hope that they lose and it takes forever to happen.
Two out, 2-2 to Polanco. 3-2. So Herron, since giving up that home run to Snyder in the second, has retired 7 in a row. Make it 8. 4th strikeout of the game for Dan Herron, who appears to have rediscovered whatever it was he has lost. We'll go to the 5th. Pirates 5-0. Dodger Baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Head to Jack in the Box for the new Jalapeno Ranch or BBQ Ultimate Cheeseburgers at participating restaurants. And by the Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2014 Truck of the Year and first ever back-to-back champion. As we head into the top half of the 5th inning in Pittsburgh, where the skies have been threatening, the Dodgers offense has not. Dodgers still looking for their first base hit. They've had 3 base runners, 2 walks, and a hit batsman. Crawford was hit by a pitch in his first at-bat. And a slow roller to third. Harrison picks it up and throws him out. Dodgers have not yet been close to a hit.
Francisco Liriano just almost made a mistake right there. He's got to realize where his third baseman is right here. He swats at this ball as he goes by it, and he could have deflected that very easily. Let Harrison have that. That's a simple play for the third baseman when they're in that far protecting against the bunt.
So 1 out and nobody on. Dodgers had Liriano against the ropes in the first inning. Gordon struck out, then back-to-back walks to Kemp and Gonzalez. Van Slyke would strike out, Uribe would fly out, and that's that. Crawford began the second inning, hit by a pitch, then picked off, caught stealing, and the Dodgers have not had a base runner since. Until now. Rojas will arrive at second base with a sliding double. For Rojas, his second big league two-base hit. And Liriano hears it from the home crowd.
Well, Rojas taking a nice swing. This ball just goes right down the middle for him. Wasn't on the corner where Russell was looking for it, and puts a nice swing out there. Great effort out there by Snyder in left field. That moment, you know, all his teammates know there's a possible no-hitter going on. They're not only trying to make the play, make every effort, but seeing if they can kind of carry that in further in this game. But Rojas breaks that up.
Butera, strikeout victim in his first at-bat. Takes a strike. Dodgers, of course, have had 2 no-hitters this year and a near-perfect game by Reeve. Strike. Butera with a couple of home runs this year. Rojas leads from second. Dodgers trail by 5. Liriano from the third base side of the rubber.
Perfect ending to this inning would be a base hit here by Butera, a sac bunt by Dan Herron, and a base hit by D. Gordon. Get this thing to 5-2 pretty quickly. 3 batters, it could be 5-2.
1 out and 1 on. When a pitcher like Liriano stands pronounced on one side of the rubber or the other, in this case Liriano on the third base side, what is the reasoning behind it? What advantage or disadvantage is there to it?
For him, it's getting the angle on the outside corner right-handed hitters with his fastball. He's always had trouble throwing strikes, and when he lines up on the third base side of the rubber, that puts his arm down the middle of the plate. So it gives him a little bit more of a chance to throw strikes, get the ball starting on the plate.
So Butera's worked the count full. And oh, what a play by Mercer. Butera robbed of a hit. Might have cost the Dodgers a run. Beautiful play by Jody Mercer. Butera got it all, and Mercer jumped as high as he could. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. After 4.5, 5-0 Pittsburgh. Defensive plays. Now it's a time to reflect on some great offense. In 1977, Steve Garvey, Ron Say, Dusty Baker, and Reggie Smith became the first set of 4 teammates to hit 30 home runs in the same season. The Dodgers will honor this achievement Thursday, July 31st, week from tomorrow at Dodger Stadium, when the first 50,000 fans in attendance take home an original 30 home run club bobblehead presented by Security Benefit. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Travis Snider, who was the last Pirate to have a hit. That was in the 2nd inning, and it was a home run. Since then, Aaron has retired 8 in a row. Snider is 2 for 2, and a couple of runs scored. Pirates with 4 in the 1st and 1 in the 2nd. Snider takes a strike. It'll be Travis Snider, Andrew McCutchen, and Neil Walker to bat for the Bucks here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. The Pirates have the best home record in the National League this year, 33-21. The Dodgers have the best road record in the National League at 31-22. And what a job Clint Hurdle has done in turning around a Pirate franchise that at long last year would finish the season not only over 500 but in the playoffs. Only took them 20 years to get a winning record, and the team has responded around him, and the fans have responded around this ball club. This beautiful ballpark, PNC. Into center field, and Van Slyke is there. That's one of those tough ones on a center fielder when it's right at him.
It is, but Van Slyke read that perfectly. It's one thing that why you see Van Slyke and you see Andre Ethier there in center field is they take very good angles when the ball's hit right off the bat. They're not the fastest center fielders we see around the league, but they get good jumps and good reads.
Part of another big crowd at PNC Park, even with storm clouds overhead. McCutchen takes a ball inside, 1 ball, no strikes. And the way Matt Kemp has played right field the past few days, Don Mattingly at least has been thinking about the possibility of Yasiel Puig playing in center field. And there's Puig. Hope is that he'll be ready to go in San Francisco. Puig tonight was taking batting practice and hitting a few off the wall in right center. By the way, the temperature is 80 degrees and a humidity of about 50%. Hope he's keeping warm. One and 2 to McCutchen, who is 0 for 3. Line to third and bounce to third. Check his swing. He's done, 2 out. Meanwhile, quietly, Herron, after the horrible start, has retired now 10 in a row.
Yeah, Dan has started to throw some off-speed pitches, vary his speeds, and also then when he finally does throw the hard stuff, he's hitting his spots.
Walker has walked, scored a run, and has been struck out. If you're wondering about the Giants, they're in a rain delay, and from what we hear from Philadelphia, they could be in one for a while. Scoreless in the 4th inning, if and when they resume that game. Bumgarner and A.J. Burnett were the pitchers. There it is. And well, we have threatening skies here and about a 40% chance of rain. So far it's been dry. Neil Walker is Father Tom. Pitched a little bit in the major leagues with Montreal and the Angels, a couple of others. They settled down in Pittsburgh, the Walkers did. And of course, the great Roberto Clemente on the Mercy Mission. Walker's father and Roberto Clemente were very close friends, and they were going to fly into Nicaragua on New Year's Eve, on a season in which Clemente ended with exactly 3,000 hits. And they were flying on New Year's Eve, and Clemente at the last minute told Neil's father, stay with the family for New Year's Eve. And of course, Clemente would die tragically on a mercy mission. As Walker takes a call, third strike. 11 in a row now retired by Dan Herron. And he's got 6 strikeouts on the night, but he and the Dodgers trail by 5 as we head to the 6th.
Nothing whole right now as we make our way to the top of the 6th inning. A absolutely beautiful night here at PNC Park on this Thursday or Wednesday night, July 23rd. And why is July 23rd significant? Well, maybe not on today, but if you take a look back at the notable Dodgers born on this very date, look at that. Pee Wee Reese, Don Drysdale, and our own Nomar Garciaparra, who of course played for the Los Angeles Dodgers from 2006 to 2008. Happy birthday, Nomar. A couple of others. Bullpen coach Chuck Krim turns 53 years old, and our own executive producer Glenn Diamond turns 21 today. Happy birthday, everybody. Happy birthday, number 5.
Oh, thank you, Lon. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, how about that? Today.
How about that? Once a year.
Yeah. Ooh, I almost missed it.
Well, happy birthday, pal. Justin Turner, who's not celebrating a birthday today, is, however, pinch hitting for Dan Herron, with Jamie Wright warming in the bullpen. Wright trying to get back in the saddle after a rugged night last night. So here is a question, not second guessing, but really kind of first guessing. Dodgers admittedly are down 5-0. They've got 4 more innings to play here, perhaps 3. Herron was to have led off. He has retired 8 batters, making 11 batters in a row, and is 1 batter worth using your bullpen for the next 3 innings. We'll find out at the end of the inning. So far, so good on the Mattingly side of the coin, with a leadoff hit for Justin Turner.
Thinking about how many innings are down there in the bullpen, and you're also thinking about an off day tomorrow, so you can go full metal jacket Johnny Holstaff here tonight.
And you're going, okay, we only have so many innings left. We're down by 5, and I talk about how you just want to kind of peck away at that lead slowly, and right now you're realizing how valuable these outs are, so you don't want to just give those up and say, okay, maybe there's a chance that we can start just getting after it.
Taking small bites. Well, there's Gordon with a line drive base hit into the left field corner. Turner going to third base. He'll be held up there by Lorenzo Bundy. And so the Dodgers are in business, second and third, and nobody out. For D. Gordon, his 17th double of the year.
Well, this is the way D practices every single day during batting practice, trying to drive the ball the other way, staying back on fastball short to the ball, and he gets on top of one up in the high strike zone and is still able to keep that one fair for a nice double.
Gordon has had 8 base hits since the All-Star break. 7 have gone to center field or left. He's pulled only 1. And he's been working on it. In batting practice every day, he's going the other way, and he's just slashed a double. So the Dodgers have their first threat of the night. Second and third, nobody out. And Matt Kemp with a base hit. The Dodgers get right back into business. Kemp tonight is walked and flied to right. Turner is at third. Gordon is at second. Both of them wearing those hand guards. Ground ball slowly hit to short. Turner will come in to score. Fielder's choice for Kemp is 38th RBI. The Dodgers now trail 5-1. Gordon can do nothing but retreat to second.
D. Gordon should be on third.
Let's get this on this replay. Watch for this ball. If this ball is hit to your right or at, I mean, it's usually at right or at you. At you, you still have a decision, but with his speed, you also have to recognize where the shortstop's playing behind you. You know that he's playing off, so if he has to move to his left, he's not going to have a chance to kind of get that ball and throw you out at third. So with that ground ball, D. Gordon should definitely advance to third base.
Now Gonzalez takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Well, 2 mitigating circumstances. One, the shortstop is moving to his left. He'd have to stop short and completely throw across his body against one of the fastest runners in the game. Now again, playing out the equation. If Gordon gets to third, a sacrifice fly here by Gonzalez, and this is second run. So Liriano, his shutout is over. Dodgers with 1 run and 3 hits. Pirates 5 runs and 4. So Gonzalez has walked and flied to left. Gonzalez at 258. Into center field. Now tagging is Gordon. He'll go to third and make it easily.
Well, that's a perfect example of why we said if he would advance on that last one, because you got that fly ball right there. That's another run right there for the Dodgers, but now they have to come up with a clutch hit or hope for a wild pitch pass ball, something to get D. Gordon in.
Van Slyke struck out swinging in his first at bat and bounced to short in the 4th inning. Van Slyke in center field and batting cleanup tonight. So the Dodger bench beside A.J. Ellis, the backup catcher, Puig, Ramirez, Turner's been used, and Andre Efi. Uribe on deck. Van Slyke with the pinch hit home run last night. High and away. Dodgers had the Pirates and Liriano on the ropes in the first inning. Back-to-back walks to Kemp and Gonzalez. But Van Slyke would strike out. Uribe would fly out. Then the Dodgers finally got their first hit in the 5th inning. A double by Rojas and a brilliant leaping catch by Mercer would double off Rojas. And here in the 6th, the pinch hit by Turner, the double by Gordon. Kemp, the fielder's choice, knocking in a run, and Gordon is at 3rd. Two and 2 to Van Slyke.
Scott out in front of that last pitch. You just got to wait a little bit longer, let the ball travel. He struck out on a ball in the dirt and swung and missed in too early on the off-speed stuff.
For Liriano, his 4th strikeout. Van Slyke in disbelief. Drops his bat and his hard hat, and now his gloves. The 6th, Martin, Davis, and Harrison to bat for the Pirates in the bottom of the 6th, and follow every Dodgers game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replays, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit Dodgers.com today. Jamie Wright had a tough go of it last night. 2 innings, 2 runs, 2 hits, a strikeout, and a walk. Making his 38th appearance of the year. Dan Herron had a terrible time of it the first 2 innings. Left the game feeling a little better about himself, retiring the last 11 batters he faced on the night. 6 strikeouts, 3 walks, 84 pitches, 54 strikes.
I mean, Oro, you've worn different hats with an organization, from coach to the front office. I mean, how do you evaluate Dan Herron's performance today?
Well, the one thing I would say is that once he started throwing his slow curveball, that's when he started to get people out. So that helped him start to get in the strike zone and get the hitters off of him. I would tell that's the thing we're going to work on in your side work. We're going to try and find speed differential in your arsenal.
Including tonight, 60 games remain for the Dodgers. They have played 102, 56, and 46. And between now and July 31st, there are 8 days. Questions to ponder and decisions to be made. Russell Martin, 0 for 1, a walk and a run scored. He'll be followed by Ike Davis and Josh Harrison. Veteran Jamie Wright. Strike on the outside corner. Russell Martin at 275. Dodgers, Yankees, Pirates. Into right field, and it's not going to be caught by Kemp. He does manage to cut it off before going to the wall. Kemp and Russell Martin, of course, grew up together in the Dodger organization. Martin, a leadoff hit in the 6th.
Russell Martin does a good job going the other way with this pitch. What I really like about Russell Martin is how hard he really runs out of the box. He drives that breaking ball, but he's thinking double because he knows it's in the gap. And watch him slide right here to slow himself down. That's intentional, so he can get back out there once he recognizes that Matt Kemp got to that ball and cut that off.
Talk about putting on the brakes.
It's a good job by both. Good job by Matt Kemp to get to it, to hold him to a single.
Davis. Sack fly at his first at bat, took a call third strike in his second. Certainly a power threat. Hit one last night, had 3 base hits. He and Gabby Sanchez are splitting time at first base, a platoon. Meanwhile, just anecdotally wondering what you guys think. Watching Kemp the last 3-4 games there in right field, looks more comfortable in right field than he has in left.
That's the reports we're getting from him and Don Mattingly, and visually what we're seeing is he looks very comfortable out there.
When he and Martin were coming up together, Kemp played a lot of right field. Russell Martin has 3 stolen bases this year. That's the good news. The bad news is he has been caught 4 times. Harrison on deck. Mercer to follow. Rojas, quick toss back to first base. That looks suspiciously like the very first line drive that was hit to him. Where's that, up in Colorado, wasn't it?
Yes.
Came up with all that ballyhoo and then clank. But he has been pretty near perfect ever since.
That one right there is one of those, as a short, you were thinking about, do I drop it? Do I maybe possibly, if he doesn't, if Ike Davis isn't really running hard, that I let it go and see if I can get that double play? And because you saw Russell Martin kind of be halfway, and you can get caught in no man's land there if he does drop it. So we often hear for a closer, or once they blow a save, get back out there. How about a long relief guy like Jamie Wright? Same hold true for someone like him?
For sure. He had a rough one last night. 31 pitches. Came in and did the job right away. First and second, no out. Got a sacrifice and then a strikeout, but then a walk and a hit and a hit and a hit batter. And the inning really just got away from him. I talked to him and he just talked about how he felt real good, but all of a sudden he threw 1 or 2 pitches that kind of changed his thinking. He lost a little confidence and feel for the game, and it just started to spiral out of control. And you are very happy to get back out there right away.
He'll be 40 in December. 16 years in the big leagues for Jamie Wright. Russell Martin leading off at first base. May not recall, but in 2007 with the Dodgers, Martin stole 21 bases. '18 the next year. There are times when catchers wonder, why do I do this for a living?
You know what I like, Drew, is like right away gets hit in the mask, but you know what, he's looking in for the sign right away. Just give me the ball. What's the sign? I'm okay.
like a fighter shaking it off. It really is remarkable, those catchers' masks. A, how hard the metal is, and B, how soft and thick that leather protection is.
And also how light they have now become, how they just changed the metal. They used to be a lot heavier and thicker as far as the size of the wires around. Now they're lighter. Even the padding becomes lighter.
In the old days, there were 2 bars.
Right, but it still hurts when you get hit there.
Oh, yeah. Harrison with a single to left. His second hit of the night. First and second, 1 out.
Breaking ball, Harrison does a good job staying back on. You like the pitch, you just don't like the location because you left it in the middle of the plate, slightly up. If that's on the corner, it's the right height. When it gets closer to the middle of the plate, it's got to be a little bit lower.
So the Pirates are threatening. Mercer has walked and bounced to third. Wright can ill afford to give up any more runs. Throw down to second base, and Martin is back. Paul Maholm going to work again. Maholm had a tough night last night. Oh, Beckett, Maholm, Wright, and Perez all had nights they'd rather forget last night. Giving up 12 runs and 12 base hits.
It was close right there. That's a pitch when you are struggling a little bit and the Pirates have a couple guys on. Take a look at the shot right here. It looked like it was a strike, and it was by strike zone. Erratic control by the Dodger staff tonight. Dan Herron to set the tone really got Laz Diaz tightened up back there.
Uribe steps on the bag and fires to first, a double play. Juan Uribe was completely in control on that play. He knew the space he had to cover to step on the bag, and he knew the runner he was about to throw out. Neatly turned double play, no runs, 2 hits, and 1 man left. We'll go to the 7th, 5-1 Pittsburgh. Baseball, and this one, can't think of one. What's fascinating, when they built this park in 2001, just over there in left field, the light stanchions for the outfield, so you can get the full effect of this beautiful downtown Pittsburgh. 25, 30 years ago, that was an oxymoron. This is a city that has had a wonderful resurgence and renaissance, and a lot of it has to do with this ballpark and Heinz Field, and there's just a whole new feel about this town. And the beautiful Roberto Clemente Bridge that fans will walk across, getting to the ballpark and from. It is a great baseball facility.
It's fantastic, and one of the last parks to be built, and they made no mistakes with this one.
Because it's so beautiful, as an opposing player, I used to love coming here and playing in it, just because the feel.
Uribe leads it off and bangs a base hit into center field. So Uribe a leadoff hit in the 7th. Dodgers scored a run with a couple of hits in the 6th inning. They got 4 runs yet to go to tie the game. And Crawford coming up.
You know, as a starting pitcher, you have those days where you're going to have long workouts and you're not pitching that night, but you like to come out to Wrigley, Fenway. Here is going to be one of those places for the early BP, the early shagging, because it's just so much fun to be a baseball player on that day.
AT&T is another great park. Dodger Stadium for those who come in and visit.
And you just can't wait to get to the park and be part of the facility and then get out and shag early. You know, you just don't have to have full uniform on then. You put your gym shorts on, you go out there, and it's just like when you're with your dad or on your high school team. You have some fun.
Boy, Harrison has turned into just a terrific third baseman. He'd been a utility player, played in the outfield some with Alvarez struggling. Harrison has gotten a lot of responsibility at third base, and he robs Crawford of a base hit.
Well, Crawford did everything right. Stays inside the ball, drives it. Just a nice play over there by Harrison. Quick reaction. He has it all the way.
That changes the dynamic of the inning. Instead of first and second, nobody out. 1 out and 1 on, and Rojas coming up. Rojas broke up the no-hitter of Luriano, who retired 1 batter into the 5th before the Rojas double. PNC Park has really become a baseball treasure.
Yeah, if you are someone that has a bucket list, and as far as visiting baseball cities, this has to be near the top of your list. And now what they've done with the downtown area around our hotel, there's some 100, 150 restaurants within a few blocks. And just a resurgence of a fun place to walk around during the day as you kill the time and wait for the game to start.
And the Pirates are a happening thing again. Boy, it took forever to get back to that level. After Bond's throw to the plate late, unable to get Sid Bream at the end of the '92 NLCS. Pirates went into a tailspin that would last 20 years without a winning record. That was until last year, when they finished over 500 into the postseason, and this town was happening. And during all those inept years here in Pittsburgh, it's still a Steelers town, but it was Steelers 1, Pirates nothing. Now at least the Pirates have a run on the board. And black and gold are the operative colors in this town.
The Pirates for a long time were in 3rd place with the Penguins.
Right, sometimes 4th.
Yeah.
Mario Lemieux and Sidney Crosby there. Pirates, of course, a great storied history. Honus Wagner was much more than the most valuable baseball card in history. Also one of the great all-time players. Clemente, and then the '60 World Series title. Mazeroski, the walk-off home run. Harrison throws to second. That was a terrific play.
That was a really good play by Harrison to get the lead runner. Usually when your momentum's taking you that way, actually going toward first, it's easier to throw there. Instead, he actually has to throw across his body. Watch right here when he gets this ball. Your momentum seems going that way. He's going to first, but he's still able to gather himself and get his shoulders square with second base to make a good throw. Right there, that turn, and gets the lead runner.
He fired that flip. 2 out. Gutierrez coming up. Robbed of a base hit. Leaping catch by Jordy Mercer that turned into a double play in his last at bat. Struck out in his first. A.J. Ellis the night off tonight. It's been raining in Philadelphia for at least an hour now. They were scoreless in the 4th. Bumgarner had started for the Giants, who burned their entire bullpen last night. Now, whether or not they'll be able to continue to play tonight in Philly, don't know, but it's apparently also raining in New York, so up the eastern seaboard they're waterlogged, and we've been fortunate here in western Pennsylvania.
If it's been an hour, I doubt Bumgarner's coming back out unless they just don't have anyone. But you get in a point in the bullpen, it's feast or famine. We've had Jamie Wright out there for 31 pitches last night. He's back out there for us tonight. Paul Mulholland, 21 pitches last night.
And he has been warming.
And now they have J.P. Howe out there warming up.
Close play at first.
And that's the thing about when you go back-to-back nights and you're part of the pitching staff in the bullpen. A lot of times it's an up and get hot, and if you don't get in, they shut you down.
They got a couple. They got both of them. They have Mulholland and J.P. Howe warming up there in the bullpen.
One would think if the Dodgers get to within a couple of runs, score a couple here in the 7th, we'll see how. Look at Harrison again. 2 outstanding plays by Josh Harrison. Uribe's leadoff single goes for naught. No runs, 1 hit. 7th inning stretch, 5-1. Harrison of the Pirates. Sunday, August 3rd, when the Dodgers host the Cubs. First 15,000 ticketed kids 14 and under in attendance will receive their own Dodgers back-to-school backpack. Compliments of popsicle. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. So Paul Mulholland is on. Mulholland making his 28th appearance. An ERA of 4 3/4 and opposing hitters 290 against him. Last night, an inning in the 3rd, 2 runs and 2 base hits.
J.P. Howe was warming up next to him. If Butera reaches, Puig was going to pinch hit, and if he hits a 3-run bomb, it'd probably been J.P. Howe. Pauls has to eat an inning here. Let's see what happens with the offense next inning.
This is Brent Burrell pinch hitting. Liriano's night is done, and it was a good one. 7 innings. 1 run and 4 hits. Laureano came into the game struggling quite a bit. A record of 1-7, his only win this year coming against the Dodgers, and he leaves potentially with his second win of the season, both against the Dodgers. One and 2.
It's a nice move by Clint Hurdle to get his starter up the tunnel, try and boost his confidence, get him a positive outing, turn it over to the bullpen. Don't push the envelope so far with Laureano.
Well, he's got a solid bullpen to work with. Last night, the Dodgers saw that bullpen, and Morel bangs up base hit into left field. Pinch hit, leading off the 7th. Gregory Polanco coming up. Polanco 1 for 3 and a run scored. Polanco began the game with a single to left. Snyder would single. McCutchen would line out. Walker and Martin would walk. A Davis sac fly. A Harrison double. And just like that, the Pirates had a 4-0 lead. In the second inning, Snyder would hit a home run to right, his 5th of the year. And basically, before he could blink, the Bucks had a 5-0 lead. Dodgers scored a run. In the 6th, fielder's choice RBI for Kemp. To second base. 4-6-3. 2 out. Nice backhanded flip. Gordon to Rojas, and that certainly is worthy of an Arco top-tier play. Oh, well, what's the difference between a double play and a home run? Well, one large fly. 2 outs, 1 hit.
You can always back that up with the double play, because that was a nice double play turned by those guys up the middle.
And Arco got its money's worth. Now with 2 out. So Snyder tonight with that single to left and then the home run. Outside corner for a strike. When Mahalam first came up with the Pirates almost a decade ago, he's Zach Duke. And Ian Snell were going to be the 3 pitchers that would lead the Pirates into the promised land. Well, promise was that all of them are gone.
It's amazing when you go through rebuilding programs and you have to market your team and kind of create some hope in a city, that sometimes that gets pinned on a new 3 and 4 hitter or the top 3 guys in the rotation. And at that moment, the organization does believe that that could be the foundation, but so many pieces change and so many opportunities exist after that stuff hits the street and the momentum is gathered, that really what you're trying to say is, believe in us, we have a good plan, and we're going to figure it out, and we don't want to put any names on it right yet.
Well, what was happening also in Pittsburgh during that 20 years in the abyss, they kept bringing in these free agents for about a year or so who were basically at the back end of their careers, more as a selling tool as anything else. Didn't help their long-range plan, and finally they settled down with the new ownership. They took a deep breath and say, all right, this is our plan. This is what we're going with, and we're going to struggle for a while.
And a big part of that turnaround is the guy who's up at the plate right now, and Andrew McCutchen. With a homegrown player like Andrew McCutchen coming up, Bill within, and reigning MVP.
Dodgers have held him to 2 base hits in the series. Foul ball. Even a foul ball. He is so quick. That's a third base umpire's call immediately after the ball passes the bag.
And I think Uribe thought that ball was a fair ball. And he's going there, and I know he caught it in foul territory, but it's not where it lands when it's a ground ball. It's whether it goes over third base, and Uribe thought it went over third base, made a nice bat and got rid of it so quickly.
Watching him take ground balls before a ball game at Dodger Stadium, he is so quick, and sometimes it looks like he's hot dogging it, but his hands are so quick, and his ability to release, catch the ball, get it into his hand and release. We just saw even on that foul ball. See that all the time. Part of the drill every day for him. Into right center field. That one is well hit. And that is off the base of the wall. Snyder rounding third. Throw to the plate. Not in time. So McCutchen, who had been held to just 2 base hits in the series, bangs a double off the wall in right center. Good for his 63rd RBI of the year, plating Travis Snyder, and the Pirates now have a 6-1 lead.
He's short and quick to the ball, but he also makes the ball travel, and he did a great job staying back on that off-speed pitch from Paul and supplying all the power himself. And Slight gets it in quickly, but you're not going to hold him to anything other than a double.
His 29th 2-base hit of the year. He's 4th in the National League. He's 4th in the league in RBI, 2nd in the league in batting average, 2nd in the league in base hits, and on and on and on. Walker takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Neil Walker tonight has been struck out twice. He's walked once. Walker now at 284. Switch hitter. Bats roughly the same, lefty or righty. 15 home runs, 48 runs batted in. Scored one of the 4 Pirate runs in the first. Gordon will throw out his counterpart, and that'll end the inning. 2 hits, a walk, and a run scored for the Pirates. We head to the 8th. Dodgers trailing at 6-1.
to try to get something going here as they find themselves down 6-1. We make our way to the top of the 8th inning. It looks like it's going to be Yasiel Puig leading off, and then D. Gordon and Matt Kemp. D. Gordon already a heck of a year so far in 2014, first-time All-Star, and now he's the nominee for the Dodgers for the Heart and Hustle Award, which is basically based on passion, desire, and work ethic demonstrated on and off the field. The final winner is going to be announced in the middle of November. Some other notable winners: Dustin Pedroia, Mike Trout, and Torrey Hunter. D. Gordon, a tremendous year, and certainly hustle is not a surprise. He's been the nominee for the Dodgers.
Each team nominates a player for that award, and not a better selection than D. Gordon, who has had quite a year. Well, look who's pinch hitting. Not him. Here's Justin Wilson now on in relief. But for the Dodgers, Yasiel Puig is back. Puig with the bad hand, having been hit. And he takes a strike, 0-1. Watched him take some BP today, and certainly was pounding some line drive.
He was hitting the ball very, very well, hitting it mostly center field and to the opposite field to right field. Hit some balls off the hitter's eye. The backdrop out there in center field, the green wall. Man's got to be feeling pretty good to hit it that far.
Feeling good to be back on the field. 2 balls and a strike to Yasiel Puig. Puig was hit in the left hand by Joe Kelly on Saturday in St. Louis. So Puig would miss games after that until this moment. And he works out a leadoff walk.
So far in this game, both pinch hitters, Justin Turner and Yasiel Puig, have done their job leading off the inning and getting on base.
And on the other side, Brent Morrell for the Pirates got a base hit.
And it was Wilson who came into the game last night who hit Justin Turner, and he would get a game misconduct. We are in Penguin country after all. D. Gordon takes a strike. Gordon tonight a double in 3 at-bats. Pirates have had control of this game since the first. Chris Perez, who struggled last night, trying to get back in the saddle, warming up in the bullpen. Wilson threw 2 pitches, plunked Turner, got the rest of the night off, and so did Clint Hurdle, his manager, arguing. Wilson can get up there in a hurry.
He's got a nice clean delivery. I like the way the ball comes out of his hand, the way he gets down the hill. The arm speed is definitely something you can work with.
Born in Anaheim, went to Buchanan High School in Clovis. Look at Harrison. And just getting back to first is Puig. Harrison's had an outstanding night at third base.
This play is really close.
It really is. And Harrison going over there, I mean, it's a line drive, and Yasiel getting off, thinking it might get in the hole, but I think Yasiel might have gotten back there. It's the first time we've seen Yasiel actually dive back to the bag, and pretty well, mind you, but ooh, that's a close one.
It looks like he gets on the ground in time, but I'm not sure the hand gets on the bag in time.
Got a side one.
I don't know.
An up or a down. It's
I mean, who is Caesar leaving it to? I mean, that's what it is. I'm like,
Sideways. He wants to look at it.
Are we back in the Roman days? Is he going to live or is he not?
New York will decide the thumbs up or thumbs down. Looks like Puig got back. So Mark Carlson, who made the call, and the crew chief Jeff Nilsson are having a pretty good listen.
I can't see his fingertips. So, I mean, it is so close. It really is.
Like he's in there.
I think it's going to be so close since they called him safe that it's going to stay that way.
All right.
Boy. I'm glad he didn't get a manicure today.
Maybe he just got one.
The false step that he took to second, where you're supposed to freeze on a line drive.
You know, what's interesting is they're showing it here at the stadium, up on the board, and you don't hear the crowd going crazy. It's like one of those, because it is so close, they don't even know how they would see it.
So Messrs. Carlson and Nelson are getting a good long listen from the folks in New York.
I would say safe. I think
you call them field stands.
Yep.
If that's conclusive to reverse it,
yeah,
it should take shorter amount of time.
And the answer is safe. So instead of a double play, there's one out and one on. Most of those replays last about 90 seconds or so. And by and large, our guest last night, Baseball Commissioner Bud Selig, has given a thumbs up to the replays. Creation of Messrs. Torrey and La Russa, who are going into the Hall of Fame, along with Bobby Cox. What a great weekend that's going to be in Cooperstown. So now Kemp, fielder's choice RBI, a walk. Doesn't get past Martin far enough for Puig to go anywhere. Kemp tonight walked in his first at bat, flied to right, and then when he bounced to short in the 6th inning, he would score Justin Turner, who had pinch hit for Dan Herron. Herron went 5 innings tonight, 5 runs and 4 hits. Lousy first 2 and a great final 3 innings. And Nomar, you asked Oral before, how did the Dodgers rate the performance of Dan Herron tonight going forward? And we talked about it before. There, including tonight, 60 games remain, and some hard decisions have to be made. Kemp fouls it back. Well, they're playing again in Philadelphia. They're in the top of the 5th and still scoreless. Kemp fouls it off.
The way the rotation is right now, if you took into consideration the 2 off days, the one tomorrow and then the one after the San Francisco series, you really don't need a 5th starter until the 2nd game in Chicago on the 2nd of August. That game's probably at home in LA against Chicago.
Play the Cubs in September.
Yeah, so So you could really keep Greinke, Kershaw, Ryu, and Beckett on pretty normal rest and not need Dan Herron until then.
And the other question is, coming off the performance last night of Josh Beckett, physically, what's left is down the stretch they come.
I think Josh Beckett has a start or two grace period before you even think about anything with him. Everything that he's done, I think he's even got longer than that, really, because he's coming back off of that, and there's a start or two of rust to work through.
And I think that was the key word. He even mentioned that he was rusty yesterday, but I thought there were some good things you saw from him. I thought there was a good sharpness to his breaking ball. There was some movement on his fastball. So I think those are all positive signs that tells me that if he can get his command back and work out some of that rust, he'll be back where we saw in the first half.
So a couple of walks here in the top half of the 8th. And Ray Searage is coming out. So you may have, the pitcher may have a couple of starts grace period, or in the case of Beckett and or Herron. But the Dodgers have some decisions to make between now and 9 days from now. What, if anything, do they do to fortify the rotation or not? That's the hard part.
Yeah, with the trade deadline looming, and the part of the trade deadline is that you don't have to deal with the waiver wire, but you can make trades after the trade deadline. You just have to go through a little deeper process and sneak people through. But it will be interesting to see what Don Mattingly and Ned Colletti perceive as the needs of the team, and if they want to address them, or if they feel like they want to stand pat, or do they want to move some people from the minor leagues to the big league level.
Adrian Gonzalez with 2 on and 1 out. Slowly hit to second base. There is 1 and there is 2, and that is that for the Dodgers in the 8th. No runs, no hits, 2 walks, and a man left. After 7.5, Pirates 6-1. For the 8th, and the Bucks with a sizable lead. Chris Perez, who had a nightmare of a night last night, tried to right his ship on the confluence of the Allegheny, Monongahela, and Ohio rivers. Fell into the drink last night, a third of an inning, 4 walks in a row. And a run would come in, and he would head out. And a 12-7 Pirate win.
I'll tell you what's interesting. We were talking about, remember Mattingly talking about would he use Yasiel in center field? Well, Yasiel is in center field right now. And Van Slyke has moved over to right field.
Van Slyke and Crawford aren't wearing football helmets, are they? Well, Perez couldn't have had a worse night last night than he did. And so what was fascinating about tonight, with the Dodgers down early, all the fellas who struggled so much last night, Wright, Mahalam, and now Perez getting a chance to get back in the saddle.
Oh, before the game, we saw Perez out there in the bullpen, throwing a bullpen, working on mechanics. He was talking to his coaches about his mechanics. Now, is Mattingly asking the coaches and Rick Honeycutt say, okay, I know he was throwing the bullpen. Do you think we should get him back out there, or do you think he maybe needs a couple more days? Is that the type of discussion that goes on?
Yep, a lot of communication about, well, does he feel fixed? And does he want to go right back out there, or do you want a couple bullpen sessions with him? Because with the off day and stuff, you could get some work for a couple days and not use him and avoid him. But
well, as we were walking in this afternoon, a little after 4 into the clubhouse, Perez was watching closely video. Looking over his shoulder was his bullpen coach, Chuck Crimp. A line drive base hit into right field, a leadoff single for Russell Martin here in the 8th. And he would stand up after watching some frames on the video and cock his arm and his wrist, and Krim was saying a little more to this, a little more of that, and then they would go out and do the bullpen.
Yeah, they were checking on some different things. He had been on quite a roll before last night. When you walk 4 guys in a row, all of a sudden you think, where is it? And I think they found a few things. Something to do with his alignment to home plate and his release.
And so Perez gives up the leadoff hit to Martin and throws it away, but somehow Rojas stays on the bag. Second base umpire Jeff Nelson with the out call.
Chris Perez takes this off the bare hand, and your hand gets a little numb. Then he picks the ball up. I'm sure he didn't have a whole lot of feeling when he throws the ball to second base. That's why a ball comes out of his hand. But you see off the bare hand, now your hand is stinging and numb. And right here, you really don't get a good grip on it. He's trying to be quick. Rojas did a very nice Fred Astaire step out there. Looked like he stayed on the bag.
Look what's impressive. Look at the foot that stays on. It's the left foot as he's leaning as compared to the right foot. That's because that's what the foot you want on the bag as you're anticipating the turn double play. And then all of a sudden the ball goes away like it does. And he didn't have enough time to really switch feet there so he can extend even farther, and still was able to keep that left foot on the bag.
So Rojas has good hands and quick feet. Yep. So that's 1 out. And Josh Harrison coming up. Your natural instinct, I imagine, Oral, is to try and barehand it, but it's the worst thing in the world you can do.
Yeah, sometimes, with a man on first and your middle infielders are pinched up the middle, as a pitcher, you've got to be disciplined enough to pull back from that ball. If there's nobody on or a man on third and your infielders in normal place, you try and attempt to knock it down with whatever you can.
The ball a strike and 1 out in the 8th inning. Looking ahead to the Dodger 9th, Van Slyke, Uribe, and Crawford will bat. Rojas, Gordon, Gonzalez. So Perez rebounds nicely after the leadoff single to Martin. Last chance for the Dodgers. We go to the 9th. They trail 6-1. come up with at least 5 runs. Jared Hughes on to close it out for Clint Hurdle's Pirates, who took a 4-0 lead in the first. A solo home run for Travis Snyder in the second, and just like that, the Dodgers were down 5, and they've been in the Pirates rearview mirror all night. Last year, the Dodgers won 4 of 6 from Pittsburgh, and barring some dramatic comeback here in the 9th, the Pirates will have won 5 out of 7 from the Dodgers this year. It's the first time the Pirates have won a season series against the Dodgers since 2000. So Clint Hurdle and the Pirate ship sailing along merrily. Pirates, since the 1st of June, are about to go 29-17. Van Slyke, who walked to work today from the hotel. This is the town where his dad did so well in the late 80s, early 90s before going on to St. Louis, where Scott did most of his growing up. Uribe on deck, Crawford to follow. Oh, 2. It's a great walk across the Clemente Bridge. And look at that view. Along with Justin Turner. Van Slyke just barely stays alive.
They have cameras with them everywhere they go.
Yeah, those paparazzis are big here in Pittsburgh.
Don't you?
No, I stay in my room.
Oro does.
Stay in my room under an assumed name, different name, alias.
Van Slyke is done. Dodgers are down to their final 2 outs. Uribe, who's 1 for 3, steps in. And a base hit past a diving Mercer. So Uribe is 2 for 4 tonight. Giants and Phillies, after a 59-minute rain delay, have resumed hostilities. In the top of the 6th, there's no score, and both starting pitchers are back out again. Madison Bumgarner and A.J. Burnett.
Shows you the bullpens are feeling there.
After a 5 3/4 hour game last night. And a ground ball slowly hit to second, hobbled momentarily by Walker. Just does get Crawford. There's 2 outs. And Miguel Rojas is coming up. Dodgers will board the charter a couple of hours after the completion of this game and fly to San Francisco. Giants and Phillies have a matinee tomorrow at Citizens Bank. Off day tomorrow for the Dodgers in the big 3-game series at AT&T Park. Hughes delivers and Rojas takes a strike. It's 0-1. So the Pirates are now away from going to 54-47, and the Dodgers will drop to 56-47. No balls and 2 strikes. If the Dodgers should meet the Cardinals in the postseason, the Dodgers would have home field advantage. If the Dodgers are to face the Pirates in the postseason, the Pirates would have home field advantage. The 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Miguel Rojas, who broke up Francisco Liriano's no-hitter. He had a no-hitter for 4 1/3 innings. Rojas would double to end that dream. But Liriano, comeback player of the year last year, struggling this year, was solid tonight. Two and two.
Very good take right there after 3 fastballs in the inner half, inside corner. The ball he would think with the other pitches that it would have tailed down the middle and he'd be hacking, but he saw the spin and read it as wide.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out.
That's the pitch you were talking about. Actually takes the one before that because of that pitch right there. Read the spin and then fouls that off the inside part of it. Good thing he has that shin guard on his ankle.
Two and two, 2 out. Three and two. Drew Butera in the on-deck circle. Rojas is not going to go down without a fight.
And I think that Harrison down there at third, he's been given a workout and he's caught everything. And the way these pitches are going, if it's another 2-seamer inside, the swing that Rojas is making, he's going to hit a hard ground ball to third. The vacuum cleaner down there might put the Dodgers to bed.
5 plays turned in by the third baseman Harrison tonight.
Rojas is having a good at bat, staying alive. Those are some tough pitchers right there. Some good movement, fouling them off.
And I like the fact that he's actually trying to pull that ball, because he tried to take that ball the other way, he's just going to get eaten alive. You got to try and get the barrel on it somehow.
Jordy Mercer of the Dodgers. Next stop, San Francisco. Pirates win the series 2-1. Win tonight 6-1. For Pittsburgh, 6 runs, 9 hits, no errors. They left 4 men on base. For the Dodgers, 1 run, 5 hits, no errors. They left 5. Liriano wins it. He's 2-7. Both of his wins this year have come against the Dodgers. Dan Herron takes a loss. His record drops to 8-8. So the Lexus player of the game indeed. Francisco Liriano, 7 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, struck out 4 and walked 2. And he wins his 2nd game of the season. So that's a wrap for us and our entire Sportsnet LA crew here in Pittsburgh. For Alano Rizzo, Oral Hershiser, No More Garcia Parra, Charlie Steiner saying good night and goodbye. Talk to you again on Friday from San Francisco. Coming up next, Access Sportsnet Dodgers. Brought to you by Hyundai.